251 million children still out of school worldwide. Rana Basharat Ali Khan. Rana Basharat Ali Khan, chairman of the International Human Rights Movement, has expressed grave concern over the alarming global education crisis, which has left over 251 million children out of school. He emphasized the urgent need for coordinated international efforts to address systemic inequities and ensure that every child has access to quality education. According to the recent Global Education Monitoring (GEM) report by UNESCO, the progress in reducing the number of out-of-school children has been minimal, with only a 1% improvement since 2015. Moreover, disparities in educational outcomes between the richest and poorest students have widened, further disadvantaging marginalized communities. A funding shortfall of nearly $100 billion annually in developing nations exacerbates the crisis, compounded by insufficient international aid and debt servicing that limits investment in education. Rana Basharat Ali Khan highlighted the critical role of leadership in transforming education systems. The crisis we face is not just financial, but also one of leadership, Khan stated. Strong, ethical leadership, from schools to ministries, is the key to bridging these gaps. Yet, the lack of training and resources for educational leaders remains a significant barrier. Reports reveal that only half of school principals worldwide receive adequate training, which directly impacts school performance and student outcomes. Under the leadership of Rana Basharat Ali Khan, the International Human Rights Movement has championed education as a fundamental human right. The organization continues to advocate for equitable policies and increased investments in education, emphasizing its role as a cornerstone for societal development and poverty alleviation. Khan called on governments, international organizations, and civil society to prioritize education in their agendas, stressing that education is not merely a pathway to economic growth. It is the foundation of peace, dignity, and equality. He reiterated the organization's commitment to addressing this crisis by promoting policies that uphold educational equity and empower the next generation of leaders. The International Human Rights Movement, a legacy of advocacy. Operating in over 60 countries, the International Human Rights Movement, under Khan's visionary leadership, has become a global beacon for justice and equality. Through strategic partnerships and grassroots mobilization, the organization amplifies the voices of marginalized communities, ensuring their right to education, freedom, and dignity. The education crisis requires an immediate, unified global response, and the International Human Rights Movement remains steadfast in its mission to foster meaningful change, reminding the world that the future of humanity hinges on the education of its children.